Hello everyone, I'd like to do a little video about my Leyland 255. So I haven't really seen any of these tractors around here. Where I'm at here is Missouri, USA, and I believe this is a British tractor. So let's take a look at it. So this is a Leyland 255. It's a 60 horse gross tractor and I believe 55 net horsepower. So I purchased this tractor a few years ago for $1,200 in really rough shape. It had been well used and neglected. I don't really know the history behind it, but I purchased it with a leaking water pump and a leaking radiator, and after repairing those leaks, come to find out the block was cracked from the owner filling this thing with water, letting it freeze. So what a nightmare. I wasn't expecting such a project, but so that was my first hand at welding cast. That block cracked right behind the fuel pump back here. So it's the first time I welded cast and it held, no leaks or nothing, but still, what a shock, you know. But this is a tractor we don't see around here. You people overseas, let me know if I'm getting something wrong or a little bit of history about these things. You look back here, it's got this fancy lock for the 3-point to lock it up. I believe that lock's only good if you don't have any weight on it. My 3-point leaks down, so I always keep this thing just chained up. And got me a receiver welded on there. And I added the roll bar. That's just off a mower I had. So when I got this thing, the sheet metal was all bashed up and most of the pieces were missing. So you'll notice this looks a little different than factory. I added these ribs in here and just some mesh side covering to help keep the sticks and stuff out of there. So after welding up the block, doing the water pump, doing the radiator, I've been running this thing for a while and I was getting coolant in the oil, so I had to pull it apart, pull the pan, and it was leaking coolant from the liner O-rings. So this engine has wet liners, kind of like a heavy duty diesels on the semi-truck side, like your Cummins and Detroits. So I had to, next thing I had to do is I had to overhaul it. So this old girl's had a lot of work to it, but it was a pretty simple overhaul. This whole tractor is really simple as far as I know, anything I've ran into. Something interesting on the overhaul, the pistons on this engine had like 4 or 5 rings per piston, and I've never seen anything like that. But I guess it works out okay. Maybe it can hold a lot of compression that way, I don't know. Let's take a look at this exhaust. So if you're familiar with my dune buggy project, this is actually the muffler off the original donor car for the dune buggy. I put it on here. So the factory exhaust on this Leyland goes straight up, and when I had bought the tractor, it was broken off and the whole exhaust manifold was broken. It was just a big old hole here. So I had to build this up, and I also built it a new manifold. We'll take a look at that. Got a squirrel or something living up here. So there's the manifold I built. I just used some conduit pipe, I believe, and chopped it up to build that. That worked out okay. But also, this tractor does not like starting in the cold, so I added a grid heater off a 12-valve Cummins. I'll do a video on how to do that sometime, because you can do that to about any diesel engine. And now this thing starts like a dream in the cold. Now I added this loader. It came off of International tractor, and this bucket came off some skid steer. The bucket was way too heavy when I originally bought it, so I had to cut it down. But this loader is a little bit too big for the tractor, but it still works okay. So have a look at these tires. Now that's getting your money's worth out of some tires. These things, I believe this, from the looks of it, it looks like these tires were maybe foamed about 20 or 30 years ago or something like that. And so they're just, that foam's the only thing holding them together. They're still going strong. I don't think I'm gonna replace them till it falls apart. Got my auxiliary hydraulics here. I think I'm gonna add a grapple to this thing at some point. Do some brush work. So something else really interesting about this tractor is I was reading through the manual, and on a clutch job you do not split the tractor. You pull all this stuff apart and the clutch comes out the top. So that is something I have never heard of. I do have a new clutch for it just in case, but hopefully I don't need it. I haven't really had any trouble finding parts for this. There's a really good place that has been helpful in getting me parts like the overhaul and the water pump and all that stuff. Something I had a lot of issue with was adjusting this whole draft sensor type mechanism to get the 3-point to work alright. So the gearbox on this tractor is pretty odd as well. So this is first gear, low, and this is reverse low. So very fast. Makes it kind of hard to back drag stuff. And also the high-low on the transmission doesn't seem to change the speed very much. Now this tractor has just been a great workhorse. It's very simple, reliable. It's slow, but you can't have it all, I guess. I think I'll be keeping it for a long time. This has been a really good tractor for me. It's done lots of work around the place, and I hope someone found this interesting. And if you know more about these tractors, please post down in the comments. I'd like to know a little bit more about them. You guys keep tinkering, and you have a good day.